Today we are going to look at what I did, the lab I set up for 802.1x authentication with PortGuard and PNETLab. So first thing, this is the lab. It's a very simple lab. We have a Windows Server 2019, if I remember correctly, a switch, obviously the Palo Alto firewall, and 5 computers, of which I will only show you 2 to demonstrate how it works, but they all work. The first computer authenticates via LDAP, and the last computer instead via Entra, because here we have a big problem. The big problem is that the computers that are managed through Microsoft's new Active Directory, Entra ID specifically, if you need to use them and you don't have the local server, you can't use 802.1x authentication because you simply don't have a radius server and the users don't work for you. This is PortGuard. So let's take a look at the configuration for a moment and then let's see it in action. So this is the first dashboard, so it's the main dashboard. Some changes have been made. We are at version 14, and there are also updates to download for those who download version 14 today, while for those who downloaded previous versions, it will update to the latest version. So here we have 3 VLANs, 1 switch, because we only have 1 switch, and we have some VLANs configured right here. IT VLAN 30, Dev VLAN 20, and HR VLAN 10. Here there are some on the right, some tests that I did, which we will see later, types of authentication failed for in this case. And then we have system update and application updates here. You can open them from here, and if they are available, you install them. If they were already available, I would show you the installation immediately, which, well, is a very simple thing. Okay, there are no updates. Obviously, there are no application updates. And then, in any case, if they were available, it would appear in yellow here and tell you how many updates there are to do. Updates are designed to update the critical aspects of the operating system and the various applications that manage PortGuard, precisely. A dashboard for NOC that immediately gives visibility into what is happening. This is designed for televisions, so a wall dashboard. Here we have users, because maybe you don't have Entra and you don't even have a local Active Directory, so you can configure users groups, which obviously you can group together. And here we go to the interesting part, Identity Federation. Identity Federation, LDAP, LDAPS. I only configured LDAP to save time, but obviously you can configure, or rather it is recommended to configure LDAPs. This is the server address, which is precisely the server that is on net. Then if we scroll down the binding with the administrator, the password, and the various settings, here I selected network access 8.02.1x, after which you can do the test user if you want. Here you can do retrieve groups, and as you can see, all the groups appear. I only selected the ones I was interested in: Dev, IT, HR, and Finance, and NAC workstation, YNAC workstation, because the computer also needs to be verified. In the case of Entra, it won't happen when I show you. Then we have Microsoft Entra ID, which is connected. Here, to various settings, the password, etc. And here we have the groups, CrazyNet, Entra ID, PortGuard device, PortGuard employees, and PortGuard network admin. If I click on view members, there are 2 members. One is me and the other is also me, but with a different domain. Because in Azure, I imported the crazynet.io domain. SIML 2.0 is not configured, then here there are all the diagnostic tests. Still on the left menu, we have the VLANs, for which I have configured 3 VLANs, which are right here. Here it also tells you how many in use by 2 sources, so in use by 2 computers or more. Here are the radius settings. Here we have different types of authentication. I chose EAP, TLS with the certificate, but we have several. After that, we have authentication, so the policy for authentication, which in this case I haven't configured, and instead I configured the access policy. The access policy must match the computers and the group. In this case, as you can see, IT LDAP, HR LDAP, Dev LDAP, then Entra. In this case, I have CrazyNet PortGuard network admins. Then at the bottom, block everything. If you have more than one domain, and this is also a very useful thing, edit. Here on the right, you see that CrazyNet.io, but you can add more than one domain, so you create more than one policy for more than one tenant. Certificates here, system certificate, as the menu suggests, is the system one. Then we have the certificate authority, which in this case issues the certificate authority. After that, here, if you want, we can add an external certificate, and then finally client certificate. Here there are two menus, user certificate and machine certificate, because it depends on what type of authentication you want to implement. You need both the certificates and obviously the CA certificate. Vulnerability check now. So regarding vulnerability, this is an ER. It's not an error because I updated PortGuard earlier, but on this test machine without having you refresh. Vulnerability basically checks automatically every day for new vulnerabilities from these sources, and here you can see exactly what it has fixed and what it hasn't fixed. In this case, they have all been fixed and our system is secure. It is true that PortGuard is PR practically offline, but you can never be too safe. Compliance. Here it reports a score according to NIS2, GDPR, SOC2, and so on. A score that it's thinking about a bit now. It will give us later. Maybe running compliance is faster. It will then give us this score based precisely on our configuration, 70%. 70%. If I go to security check here, it tells me, for example, that admin MMMFA is not activated, TLS 1.0 is disabled, and so on and so forth. And this obviously affects the score. Auditing, risk detection, standards. This is what I was saying. For example, ISO 27001 compliance at 65%, SOC 2 at 79%, GDPR, etc., etc. If I click on SOC 2, for example, it opens this menu. In this case, too, it thinks for a little bit and will tell us what is missing to make it compliant with that specific standard. We have the logs section, log type, all the logs we might need. IP traceability. Here we have, in this case, these are tests I did. You see that the computer with 192.168.30.11 with this MAC address, the identity is Valerio, CrazyNet.io, connected to this switch 10.200 on this day at this time, basically. Then we have the backup and restore section, clearly with, if you want to do backup now, the schedule, remote storage. It says Amazon S3 here, but it also works for Cloudflare for R2, the restore, the history, and obviously the settings and notifications. Update, which is the window we saw before. Then the captive portal instead is if you want to use it with your access point. So we have the profiles, of which I've created 3, the vouchers, which aren't there at the moment because I haven't generated them, and the active sessions and the settings. In a future video, we'll look at how to configure the Cisco WLC with PortGuard. Then we'll walk through the steps to actually implement and utilize those vouchers for your network access. In the previous video, I showed how to connect, how to use the infrastructure emulated by PNETLab with a real Wi-Fi network card and have it act as a checkpoint. Different types of diagnostics, admin user, obviously for if you want MFA, etc. And that's it. It's all here. But now let's try, let's turn on this computer here, which is the one with LDAP, and I'll put it on the screen for you now. What should I expect from this test? First of all, you should see the computer authentication prompt appear in the bottom right corner. This happens because the system authenticates the machine itself first. Since I have not logged in yet, we will see quite precisely the computer authentication process taking place right there on the screen before we proceed. Then I should expect that on this switch in the box here switches, it should report 1, that is a user, and then once the login is done, the assigned VLAN, it shows here that there is no internet. Now here it should see the the host of the computer and the IT, that is the VLAN that it assigned to me. So I'll put in the ultra strong password, admin 123, and let's see if I can log in. Obviously here, as you can see, desktop 01, which is me, this computer. Here it tells me an authentication, a successfully. This shows 00 because it's only one. It takes more than one request to make the counter increment here. However, when my computer here is ready to log in, I will be in VLAN 30 on this switch with the username Valerio CrazyNet.local. Okay, it's actually still loading. Let's open the prompt and check that it's in VLAN 30. VLAN 30 is 192.168.30. something because it's the Palo Alto that assigns me the IP config 30.12. Now I'll show you something else though. We'll close this and I'll shut it down for the moment. When I shut it down now, VLAN 30 will disappear and this will go back to 0. But I'll show you something very, very nice. On IP traceability. IP traceability here. So this identifies computers for me via the database, meaning the system knows that this is a computer. Why? Because if I navigate over to the SOC dashboard, you'll be able to see that Valerio has successfully connected his machine, which is identified as CrazyNet.local, and the computer status is currently showing as online. Now, as we watch the system process this change, it will shortly update to reflect an offline status, and then you will see that specific entry completely disappear from the active list. Because this isn't, the dashboard is in real time, but the expiration isn't immediate as far as the computer as far as the NOC dashboard is concerned. Computer confidence 40%. Why 40%? Because obviously it's the MAC address is emulated, so it's not a real vendor, but I tried with a Dell computer and it recognizes it as Dell. If I go here to view all type devices or view all endpoints, see, here it automatically recognized it as a computer. But if I want, let's say I can decide it. And this is a fantastic thing. Why? Because we know well that when we install cameras, for example, CCTV, you can't load the certificate onto the CCTV. And you could come and tell me, yes, okay, but I'll put the MAC address on the switch. Perfect, that's great. But the port is still active, so I can still use this system to authenticate the camera as if it were an 802.1x, so it's much more powerful. So now it's time to show you the one for Entra ID. Let's log in with Entra. And what should I expect? First of all, I should, as you can see here, in the bottom right, the host fail. Then you see that I logged in Valerio, a CrazyNet.io switch, CrazyNet switch, a user, and where I authenticated and then assigned VLAN 20. Obviously, it is still in the process of logging in because it is running quite slowly, mainly since there are just too many background processes currently running in my PNETLab environment. This is the standard Windows Hello setup message, which we are going to skip for the moment, and here we are finally online. In fact, we are fully connected now, and everything is working exactly as it should be. So the configuration that you just saw is for both for LDAP and for Entra. Another small note, which will be for the future. In the next video, as already anticipated, I will show how to integrate WLC with PortGuard NAC, and of course, how to configure the WLC. With our PNETLab, we will use this access point, which is emulated here. However, we will actually use it to connect with a mobile phone. So the traffic will connect here to this network, and then it will pass through Palo Alto, authenticating the voucher with PortGuard NAC. And that's it for the next video. But there is also something very interesting that will be an additional feature to PortGuard NAC, which will concern IoT and OT. As we know, these days it has happened every day, really. Some news like this comes out. A problem occurred at the power plant in the UK where hackers attacked it and deactivated it through passing through a supplier of the gas, or a client anyway, a supplier of this power plant, which is a third party, right? An external company. They hacked the external company, and from there, they then entered the power plant and blocked, changed, modified the PLC or SCADA, etc. There is a detection system that our good friend Alberto gave us an interview about, which you can find on the channel, where he talks about critical security, which is nothing more than a small piece of software, a small probe that is inserted into the SCADA, etc., which monitors. It does real-time monitoring of precisely of the IoT system, and if it gets modified, it sends an alert to the NOC. But by integrating it with PortGuard, not only can the NOC receive the alert, hey, something has changed, watch out, is it authorized or not? But just to be safe, PortGuard moves it to a quarantine VLAN in the meantime, where the traffic is blocked. So, if the NOC says yes, okay, it's a scheduled maintenance, everything is fine, it restores the service. NOC, what's happening? At that point, obviously the technicians will investigate. That's all for now, and see you in the next video. Bye.